All right, I hope you enjoyed that. We're picking up video 2 here. I hope you enjoyed that video by Michael Shermer, the stuff that he had to talk about. It's got some pretty good stuff there. Um, but when you're finished with it, we'll take a little bit here, kind of stretch there. But when we look at that video, the big question is, why do people believe weird things? So go ahead and write in the box on your worksheet. Why do you think people believe weird things? What's one reason that you think that he talked about? If you want to pause the video while you get that written down, you can. Why do people believe weird things? Interesting topic. Moving on, though, we're going to move on to the next part of our paper, which is we're going to do some matching some terms and definitions. So on the left, I've got the terms here. On the right, I've got definitions, and you're going to draw a line, kind of connecting them together there. So if we go through our terms, we're going to start with the term science. So for us, for our class, science is both the process, we call the scientific method, and the knowledge gained by that process. Right? It's a way that we can look at the world and try to make sense of the world around us and the knowledge gained that helps explain the world around us. Right? And we use this by doing the scientific method. Right? It's a method of investigating naturally occurring phenomena using natural explanations. Right? So we try to come up with methods that we can test and things that we can identify how they work. So all those optical illusions that I had, right? We talked about using tools to improve our ability to see or detect what's going on, to clarify the images there. Right? And the first part of the scientific method, or nearly the first part of the scientific method, is developing a hypothesis. So this is a possible educated explanation for an observed set of facts limited to a particular investigation, right? So if you take a pen and you hold a pen out and you drop it, right, that hypothesis on why that pen dropped is only specific to that particular pen that you held out and you dropped. It doesn't apply to anything else. Right? So next term that we have is scientific theory. And this is a word that a lot of people use, but when they use it, they mean something different than when scientists use it. So a theory is an explanation that applies to a broad range of phenomena and is based on experimental results. The key thing is that it's an explanation. It explains how things are. And so there's lots of theories in science, and a theory is not a guess. A theory is what we get after we do the guessing, after we do the testing. So we have a theory, an atomic theory, that explains how atoms are put together. We have a plate tectonics theory that explains how the continents on the earth move around and how the oceans are shaped. In biology, we have something called the cell theory that explains how and why the way cells work. We also have the theory of evolution, right? It explains how species change over time. It's not a guess, it's an explanation based off of experimentation. Right? Similarly to that, we have what's called the scientific law. So the statement that describes something that just always is true, right? So gravity is a law. Gravity just works. We know things fall down if we let go of them. If you hold the pin out, it's going to fall. But how it works is going to be the theory of gravity. So we have both the scientific law of gravity and a theory of gravity. So those are those two words there. And then we've got some other words that kind of come into play here. This is bias. So a bias is a particular preference or point of view. It's personal rather than scientific. So you may be, more inclined to think something is one way or the other, not necessarily, on any previous experience. It's just kind of what you think. Right? Then we've got superstition and belief. So superstition is an unproven explanation. There's lots of superstitions out there. And then I'm going to put this word belief and cynicism up there. So good scientists, good skeptics are neither believers nor cynics, right? So they don't totally accept something as true just because they want it to be, regardless of what the evidence is, and they don't reject something as true regardless of what the evidence. So good scientists, good skeptics are somewhere in between. We say, well, maybe that might very well be true, but what is the evidence to support it, right? So those are the words we're going to look at. So kind of backing up, we've got science, scientific method, hypothesis, scientific theory, scientific law, bias, superstition, belief, and cynicism. All right. So I'm going to put up again, remember, go through, match the terms where they belong here. And then we've got a couple more optical illusions. What do we see here? A young lady or an old woman? Ah, some people see both. The young lady is kind of looking away. Here's her eyelash. Here's her nose. This is kind of her jawline. The old woman, this is her left eye. This is her other eye here. This is her mouth down here, and that's her nose. Or this, is this a frog or a horse? And it depends on which way you look at it. So some people see the frog with his eyes up here and his mouth down here, and his legs down here. Some people see the horse, right? The horse has kind of got his nose down there, and his eyes are back up that way. So, all right, we're going to stop there on this video. I'm going to put up another video in just a second. This is the end of video number 2.